Look, I know exactly what you're going through. You've got the most advanced AI models on the planet, Opus, GPT-4, right at your fingertips, but your multi-agent setup is just failing at the most basic stuff, and you're sitting there pulling your hair out. It's incredibly frustrating, right? You've plugged in all the APIs, you've spun up these subagents, and the output is just total garbage. Well, pull up a chair, consider this explainer your official senior developer intervention. Today, we're going completely back to basics to rebuild your foundation from the ground up. We're going to stop treating AI like this magic black box and start treating it like a brand new hire that actually needs proper structured onboarding. So here's our game plan to fix those token wasting habits. We're going to cover context and progressive disclosure, teaching your unique workflow, iterating towards automated skills, and finally, scaling for real productivity. Let's just dive right in. All right, part one, context and progressive disclosure. Keep it minimal. We really need to talk about the absolute biggest rookie mistake I see almost everyone making right now, and that's how you're handling your context window. I want you to ask yourself a super serious question right now. Why did your shiny new agent fail that task? Think about it. The models themselves are exceptionally good now. I mean, they've reached a point where the raw horsepower is just undeniable. So if the model is basically a genius, why is the output so incredibly dumb? Well, the harsh truth is, your AI is failing because it's completely missing your unique workflow. It has absolutely no specific business context. Instead, you've overloaded it with generic instructions, and your context window is just bloated beyond belief. Imagine you hire a brilliant new employee, but instead of actually teaching them your company's processes, you lock them in a room with a 10,000-page generic manual and just yell, "Do the job," through the keyhole. I mean, that's literally what you're doing to your AI right now. Let's look at how most people set things up versus how you actually should do it. The giant agent.md file approach, I'm going to be straight with you. 95% of people do not need a file like that. Dumping literally everything, your tech stack, your coding preferences, your whole life story, into one massive file that gets loaded into every single conversation is a huge mistake. The AI already knows how to write React. It knows how to analyze data. What you actually want is a sleek skill.md file, something modular, clean, and only loaded when it is absolutely needed. And that brings us to this concept right here, because honestly, this is the ultimate senior developer secret: progressive disclosure. What is it? It's basically the practice of keeping only a skill's title and its description in the agent's main context. So the AI reads the description, thinks to itself, oh, hey, I need this specific skill for this task, and only then does it actually open the full document to load the logic. Let's break down the hard math on this, because it's wild. 53 tokens versus 944 tokens. If you use one of those giant agent files, you're spending nearly 1,000 tokens on every single turn of the conversation. You're constantly feeding the AI information it absolutely doesn't need in that moment. But by progressively disclosing a skill, you're only spending 53 tokens just for the title and description. You're saving your precious context window space, and yeah, you're saving a ton of money too. So the whole point here is keeping that context window optimized. You absolutely always need fresh space in your context. If you push that window up near 100% capacity with bloated instructions, the model actually gets dumb. It's exactly like cramming for a math test at the very last minute. Your brain is so full of random formulas that you can't even solve a simple addition problem, right? Keep the context lean and the AI stays sharp. Okay, moving on to part two, teaching your unique workflow. Guide the AI manually. This is where we drop the theory and actually get our hands dirty with the manual labor you need to do before any real automation can even happen. I absolutely love this analogy from the source material we're looking at. When you try to just download a generic proprietary skill from some random marketplace, it is exactly like when you asked your mom for McDonald's and she told you, "We have food at home." Seriously. Do not just download someone else's skill file. You don't know their workflow, and frankly, it's a security risk. You need to build your own skills at home. You really have to treat the AI like a brand new hire. Guide them manually before you expect any sort of magic. If you just jump straight into creating a skill file without rigorously testing it, you're going to fail. Remember, the AI is a predictor of tokens. It's not some sentient thinker. It absolutely requires the context of a successful handheld run to actually understand what good output looks like. So let's break down how you actually do this manual teaching process. First, you have to identify the exact workflow. Let's say you're vetting YouTube sponsor emails.
You don't just lazily tell the AI, hey, tell me if this is a good sponsor. No, you do it step by step alongside the AI. You tell it, go look up their Trustpilot, check if they've raised funding, check their Twitter. Then you review the results together. Ah, look, they have terrible reviews. You're right, AI, mark them as a bad company in the spreadsheet. You have to successfully execute the workflow together, manually, before you even think about moving to full automation.
Which brings us perfectly into part 3, iterating towards automated skills, the recursive building loop. Now that we've done the grueling manual labor, we can actually turn it into a highly efficient codified skill file. Here is the exact recursive loop you need to be using. Step 1, you execute that manual workflow we literally just talked about. But here is where the magic actually happens. It's going to fail. It's going to hit an API error or throw a 500 code. But instead of getting mad and giving up, you move to step 2. Feed that error directly back to the AI. Literally just say, hey, you failed. You got an insufficient credits error. Then step 3, you have the AI fix its own logic based on that error. Once it finally executes flawlessly, step 4 is where you instruct the AI to write its own final skill file based entirely on that one successful run. I really need to drill this into your head right now. The AI does not think. It maps tokens based on context. That's it. When you provide it with a successful iterative run where you patiently corrected its mistakes, you're giving it the perfect vector map to follow. It simply cannot generate perfection from a blank slate. You have to actively show it what good looks like. And just to save you from some serious future heartbreak, let's talk about the timeline here. You need to manage your expectations. Day 1 with a new AI agent, it's going to be garbage setup and total confusion. Week 1 is going to be full of API hiccups, annoying errors, and tons of manual fixes. But if you stick to this recursive loop, by week 2, you will have flawless, automated execution. Failure is literally just a necessary step in the iteration process. It is not a sign that the tech is broken. Stick with it. All right, finally, let's look at part 4, scaling for real productivity. One strong main agent. Because now that you've properly built your skills, we have to figure out how to architecture this whole thing without creating a tangled mess. Let's contrast the reality of output here. Think about what everyone on social media does. They fire up 15 completely unconfigured sub-agents right off the rip just because it looks incredibly cool. But the reality of what actually works? One honed, well-trained main agent completely outperforming that chaotic mess. If you haven't taken the time to define your foundational workflows, 15 sub-agents are literally just going to make 15 times the mistakes. This quote from the explainer is just heavy-hitting. I didn't scale for what looks cool. I scaled for productivity. This is exactly the pragmatic senior engineering philosophy you need to adopt right now. You've got to stop trying to build some flashy architecture just so you can brag that you have a swarm of AI agents. Build what actually saves you time and executes flawlessly. So the most crucial takeaway for your architecture is this. Start with one strong main agent. Spend your time codifying your personal human skills, your specific taste, your exact strategy, into progressively disclosed skill files. Only delegate to subagents when you have a clearly defined, totally isolated workflow, like, say, managing your marketing emails. Maintain a solid, minimal foundation, and really let less be more. So I'm going to leave you with this. Are you going to keep blindly throwing expensive tokens at a bloated black box, just crossing your fingers and hoping for a miracle? Or are you finally ready to roll up your sleeves, do the iterative manual work, and build your own highly effective skills? The models are ready and waiting for you. It's time to build smarter. Let's get to work.